In 1995 to 96, I forget, Sega released an arcade game called Sonic the Fighters. It was a fighting game featuring Sonic and his friends, which were mostly reskins on the same base. It didn't do that well in the arcades, and it didn't sell that many units, and therefore it's not that common and kind of hardish to find compared to other games. And then about in 2004, Sega made Sonic Gems Collection, which was all the Sonic games that were obscure that nobody cared about until that game came out, which were Sonic the Fighters, Sonic R, and Sonic CD. I've reviewed Sonic R and Sonic CD, but today I'm going to be reviewing Sonic the Fighters. And let me tell you, this game is bad. And there's a reason why it didn't do that well in the arcade. Let's find out, shall we? So yeah, when you first start up the game, the first thing you'll notice is that this game was made by AM2. The same people made Virtua Fighter. It's like a dumbed down version of it, basically. But anyways, the plot of the game is that the revenge of Dr. Robotonic. Yeah, that's the plot. Basically, Eggman is doing the same shit as usual, but there's only one plane to destroy Eggman and shit, so they all have to fight each other. Wow. That is like so totally not generic fighting game plot. Oh yeah, and speaking of which, first thing I'm going to talk about are the graphics. The graphics are, well, Sega Model 2. They're not the best on the Sega Model 2, nor are they most detailed. Sure, a lot of effort was put into the character animations, but they're not that fluid. And the backgrounds aren't as detailed as on some other Model 2 games, such as Daytona USA, for example, which had really detailed backgrounds if anyone ever played that game. And trust me, that game was an amazing game. That game also had much better gameplay than this. And in a way, it seemed to have better graphics. I mean, it's pretty obvious this game wasn't that good of a game, even though it's on one of the greatest arcade platforms of all time. When you play the game, you can pick from 8 characters, and no, there are no unlockable characters whatsoever, so you're just stuck with these 8. And guess what? There's only one linear path of progression. Unlike other fighting games which randomly pick characters and stages, this, you're always fighting South Island with Knuckles on stage 1. Stage 2 is always Amy on the same place, the carpet shit. The polar bear is always on the reflective one. You get what I mean. And the game is extremely cheap. The first few levels are just you mashing 3 buttons because there's no real combo list in the game. There are few combos. You just mash a few buttons, and then all you gotta do is just kick the shit out of the enemy. At first the AI is dumb as a brick, and then all of a sudden the AI starts comboing your ass, and it gets annoying unless you can mash the buttons quick enough. Which is crappy on a normal PS2 DualShock, but it's probably much easier if you have a fighting game stick, which everybody seems to have these days. The music is okay, I guess. It's memorable, better than most modern Sonic games as well. This was back when Sega actually knew how to make games, surprisingly, but then again, even every best developer has their own not-so-great games. But the music is great anyway. The music is pretty good. It's memorable, but there are better music. There's better games with better music, like, say, Daytona USA or Virtua Fighter. And yeah, like I said, there aren't very many commands in this game. There's mostly just spam buttons. There aren't really any move combos or other complex stuff, just a few variations of the same stuff. Unlike other fighting games, for example. Now, I want to show you a better fighting game. Tekken 4 is so much better than this game in many ways. It's got a better soundtrack, better graphics, of course game leaders, so yeah. Even though Namco never had as good hardware as Sega. And it also had much more gameplay than Sonic the Fighters. There's a long move list with a ton of moves. The graphics are better. The gameplay is, well, there are so many more hidden combos to discover. It's not just mash X and Y over and over again, or X and circle on the PS2 version. And did I mention the moveset's a lot deeper? There are a whole list of commands for each fighter. It's not just like 5 or 6 like in Sonic the Fighters. There's a whole list of commands of like 83 stuff. So yeah, all in all, Tekken 4 is a better game than Sonic the Fighters. Don't buy Sonic the Fighters. If you buy Sonic Gems Collection, only buy it for Sonic CD. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more.